Hey guys, today I'd like to talk about something a little different, and that is a child's self-concepts. Now, a lot of children who have neuropsychiatric conditions will often sort of have a lesser view of themselves, low self-esteem, and this can cause a lot of issues for the child later in life. Kids with low self-esteem tend to set lower goals for themselves. They tend to be less ambitious. They may give up easily. They may be unwilling to try new things, easily anxious. They may act out, and they may do this to be something. They say that if I can't be the best, then I'll be the worst. And self-esteem is it's a very delicate issue, because when you hear the words raise a child's self-esteem, a lot of people think, well, you just need to get the child to feel better about themselves. And in a way, when you're trying to raise a child's self-esteem, that's what you're trying to do. But more than trying to get the child to feel better about himself, is you're trying to get the child to be more aware and get a more accurate perception of themselves, more accurate self-concepts. And I think that self-concept is one of the things that is infinitely important in directing our behaviors and in living the lives that we hope to live. Now, when you're trying to increase a child's self-awareness and self-perspective, there's a lot of things you can do. And the most common, I think, would be praise. And praise has its ups, but it also has its downs. When a lot of people give praise, they aren't genuine. And kids can tell when you're not genuine. If you say, hey, great job, the child's going to know you don't mean it. To be genuine, you must show your facial expression that matches the words. Use a tone of voice that matches your words. And avoid generic words. Be very specific in your praise. So instead of saying, well, Henry, you did a great job on that, try, well, Henry, I think you did an excellent, no mistake, try again. Well, Henry, I really love how you shot the ball into the hoop, just directly by that angle. You did a great job with that. Again, I used great job, my mistake. But, just trying to keep praise as specific as possible is a wonderful skill. Another skill with praise is try to give personal praise. Try to give praise that focuses on a characteristic, focuses on a value the child is trying to build. Example, if you have a kid who is a little inflexible, they don't like transitions, the child might get a little worried before luncheons or whatever, and then there's a fire drill and the child is great, walk up to that child and say, Lucy, I think that you were very flexible there, and that's just amazing. I am so proud of you. And, mean it. Don't give praise if you don't mean it. Don't go up, don't say generic words, just keep it real, and the child will appreciate that, and the child will know that. Another way to raise a child's self-esteem is to let the child have a chance. Let the child face new challenges. Let the child fix the broken washing machine. Let the child try to find your way around the park. Give the child a chance to direct. And sometimes the child will make mistakes, but sometimes the child won't. And the new experience is great. Show the child that you value their input. Show the child that you see them as someone who has a valid perspective in life, and this will allow the child to become more free thinking. If you show the child, ask questions, show that you're interested in the child's responses. And when the child sees that it's okay if their responses aren't right on, it's okay to have their own thoughts, it's okay to have their own feelings, and the child's going to appreciate that, and the child's going to work to be more free thinking and be more free feeling. And that's just a wonderful skill. I don't think there's a better skill that you can give a child. Don't compare your child to other kids. Don't say, you know, why can't you be like Susie? She does her homework, she does her chores, she's great. And because to compare a child is just ridiculous. You can't put every single attribute into consideration, and therefore comparing it all is just bogus. Comparing children can form competition, and sometimes, you know, that's good, but comparing children also just kind of brings a lot out. It can make the child feel inferior or superior, and both of those just really are bogus. Showing the child that their internal value is great, that their potential is amazing, but it's up to them to reach their potential. It's up to them to actualize it. You know, that's what you want to do. You don't want to say, this is how this is now in this attribute, and you don't have it to this level. Because it brings it down, you know? Encourage the child to give expression of their emotions. Encourage the child to share their thoughts, to share how they feel, to express themselves, if they don't use words, with art or music or however the child chooses to express themselves. You know, this is incredibly important. A lot of kids, you know, grow up feeling that their emotions are not valid, and particularly anger. A lot of us are taught, you know, it's not right to be angry. And when children begin to suppress their emotions, it can cause a lot of difficulties later on. A lot of people with borderline personality disorder who may have difficulties with self-mutilation or using harm of the self, such as like cutting or burning, to release emotional tension. A lot of those kids were taught that their emotions aren't right, that they don't have the right to be angry. And so in suppressing them, it comes out later, and it just didn't work. So, you know, show the child that it's okay to show your emotions. Show the child that you appreciate their expression of emotion, and that you want to know how they're feeling or how they're feeling, and that you care about that. Also, show the child that when they do make a mistake, that you still like them, that you still appreciate them. A lot of kids become very focused on very little details. Example, I had a friend, and just every time he made the slightest mistake, he became focused on that. And if he made a mistake in front of someone, he automatically thought that that person didn't like him. You know, it's so important to show the child that, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we go on. And show the child that you still appreciate them when they do make a mistake, and that they can make better choices in the future. Don't comment on the child's behavior. I mean, don't call a child bad. Don't use that word. First, bad is just a ridiculous word in the beginning, because there's so many ways to base the word bad or good, and moral discussions here we come. But when the child sees himself as bad, then I'm bad. What am I supposed to do? I'm a bad person. This is how I do it, and that's how it's going to be. And that's just a really big stick in the road for the child. So, say you made bad choices. You could have made better choices. And then give an example of how the situation could have been better. Don't say you should have done this, but say you could have done this. So you put an emphasis so the child has a choice. And then let the child make their own choices. If the child makes a mistake, show them it's okay to make a mistake, but it's their choice. And then give the child the empowerment to do that. it.